Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a man and his wife who longed for a child. They lived beside a great walled garden, which belonged to a powerful enchantress named Dame Gothel. The garden was filled with the most wondrous flowers and plants, but no one dared to enter. One day, as the wife stood at her window, she saw lush green Rapunzel, a kind of herb, growing in Dame Gothel's garden. She craved it so badly that she became weak and sick with longing. Seeing her distress, her husband, though fearful, climbed over the garden wall under the cover of night and stole a handful of the plant. His wife ate the Rapunzel with great delight, but her hunger for it only grew. The next night, her husband returned to steal more, but this time Dame Gothel caught him in the act. "How dare you steal from my garden, mortal?" she hissed, her eyes flashing. "Forgive me, noble lady," the man pleaded. "My wife is with child, and she craves your Rapunzel so badly that she will perish without it." Dame Gothel's expression softened, but a sly smile played upon her lips. "Very well," she said. "You may take as much as you like, but in return, you must give me the child your wife will bear." The man, terrified, would have refused, but Dame Gothel's magic was strong. He had no choice but to agree. When the child was born, the enchantress came, as promised, and took the baby girl away. She named her Rapunzel, after the plant her mother had craved, and raised her as her own. Rapunzel grew into a beautiful child, with hair as golden as the sun, and a voice as sweet as a lark's song. But when she turned 12 years old, Dame Gothel decided to lock her away in a tower deep within the forest. The tower had no stairs, only a single window high above the ground. Each day, Dame Gothel would stand below and call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, that I may climb without a care." And Rapunzel, obedient and gentle, would unwind her long golden hair and let it tumble down like a shimmering rope. Dame Gothel would then climb up and visit her. Thus, Rapunzel lived in her lonely tower, singing to the birds and watching the seasons change from her window. One day, a young prince was riding through the forest when he heard a voice as pure and lovely as the morning sun. Enchanted, he followed the song and found the tower where Rapunzel was imprisoned. He watched from behind the trees as Dame Gothel arrived and called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." To the prince's amazement, a golden braid unfurled from the tower, and the old woman climbed up. When she left, he stepped forward and tried calling the same words. To his delight, Rapunzel let down her hair, believing it to be Dame Gothel. When he climbed into the tower, Rapunzel was frightened at first, for she had never seen a man before. But the prince spoke kindly, and soon she grew to love him, for he told her stories of the world beyond the tower. They met in secret every night, and the prince promised to help her escape. For weeks, Rapunzel and the prince continued their plan. But one day, in her innocence, Rapunzel made a terrible mistake. As Dame Gothel visiting her, Rapunzel absent-mindedly said, "Mother Gothel, why is it that you are so much heavier to pull up than the prince who visits me each night?" At this, Dame Gothel's eyes blazed with fury. "Wicked, foolish girl," she shrieked, "you have betrayed me." In her rage, she seized a knife and cut off Rapunzel's beautiful hair. Then, with her dark magic, she banished Rapunzel to a desolate wasteland where she would wander alone. When the prince came again, Dame Gothel lay in wait. She tied the severed braid to the hook and let it fall. When the prince climbed up, he found not Rapunzel, but the witch. "You seek the girl, but you shall never see her again," Dame Gothel spat. She pushed the prince from the tower and he fell into a bed of thorns. The thorns pierced his eyes and he was blinded. Stumbling, lost, and broken-hearted, he wandered the world searching for his beloved Rapunzel. For years, the prince wandered blindly, surviving only on hope and memories of Rapunzel's voice. Meanwhile, Rapunzel, alone in the wastelands, one day, as the prince roamed the barren lands, he heard a familiar song. His heart leaped, and he followed the voice until at last he found Rapunzel. Overcome with joy, Rapunzel ran to him. A miracle happened. That healed his eyes, and he could see again. The prince took Rapunzel back to his kingdom, where they were welcomed with open arms. And there, at last, they lived happily ever after.